Until roughly 2016, when two major things happened. First, Donald Trump was elected president and it shocked a lot of people. Second, Bernie Sanders became a household name, and with him came a renewed mainstream interest in socialism. After this, feminism slowly...
That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Because Bernie Sanders made such a... He went so out of his way to say that he's not a socialist. And that he's not advocating for socialism. And now Big Joel's like, well, Bernie Sanders brought socialism back.
I know.
It's a little weird.
Yeah, it's funny.
Crept into the background of online discourse, and Shoe0nHead changed gears in a good way. She was always a liberal, and she started emphasizing her support for leftist policies and Bernie Sanders more than her hatred for feminism and SJWs. A lot of people seem very concerned with the question...
At the same time.
That's what's weird.
You can walk and chew bubblegum.
Yeah, because like you can be in favor of Bernie Sanders. I mean, he can even be in favor of socialism technically, and still be anti-SJW, anti-woke. Like,
no, it's completely different accesses. Like,
right.
Yeah, culture critique and like politics and like econ and shit is like the completely different things. You wouldn't know that like on the internet, but.
Right. No, I agree completely. Because, you can definitely separate the economic arguments from the social arguments. But maybe the contention is because academically, if you look at all the woke stuff, it all derives from like Marxist Marxist sociology specifically. And maybe that's where the overlap comes in.
Has Shoe0nHead changed? And I can't tell you the answer to that. She's a...
Yeah, lucky she's here. We can ask her.
Have you changed your ways, Sue? Are you no longer a badmans?
You know what's so funny? Okay, so like from the Sargon side, like I know you guys are friends with him. I'm not shitting on him. From the like a lot of people in the Sargon
just had a very
side,
contentious argument for
a lot
3
of people.
hours.
Oh really? And a lot of people on the this side are like shoe changed, but I didn't like at all. I just educated myself a little bit more on topics and like. Oh, maybe this stuff isn't that important and I'm going to focus on this stuff. But like overall, I still like, I'm very much the shithead that I've always been. And I keep trying to say that and like neither side understands like what I'm talking about. It's very, very frustrating.
Well, what do you mean when you say you're a shithead?
Well, I'm still like, okay, so the things like I critiqued back then, like if they came back into the discourse, like, if fucking manspreading became like a big focus. Do you think that my opinion would be different today? No, I would still fucking be like, what is this shit? Right? So it's not that I've completely changed. It's just that the entire discourse has changed. Like we're not talking about the same things that we were talking about in like 2015 and 2016 or whatever. So obviously like you're gonna see other opinions that aren't just like, LOL, this feminism is stupid, like, But if that stuff came back, fucking manspreading, mansplaining, what are the other things? The 75% wage gap. Like of course my opinions would still be the same. So it's just very weird. Like everybody has this narrative. It's like the left wants me to be this like phoenix rising from the ashes. And then like the other side thinks I'm like a fucking communist tanky now or something.
You're siren calling people to being socialist. Yes.
Well, I would love if more people were socialists, but
there you go. You proved me right. Well, no, but I was gonna say that when people's priorities shift about what they cover, what they talk about, there's an assumption that your opinions have changed and that's why your priorities shifted. Which maybe that's true to some degree. Right. But I do think, it sounds like you have changed politically, that you're more economically on the left than you were. Or were you always kind of like, are you a socialist? Because I thought we asked you this last time and you
think I'm a social democrat.
Okay.
But like,
you want a stronger welfare state, right?
If I lived in a utopia, right? Yeah. So if I lived in like a utopia, I'd be like, yeah, socialism, like sounds good, but we don't. So I think I said this last time we talked, but like I can look at countries like Denmark and stuff like that and be like, oh, that works, right? I want that for here. You can't really point to anything like, oh, that socialism worked, because like most of the time
it doesn't.
like Vuvuzela or whatever, like
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So there's nothing for me to be like, I want that. And so like Denmark, Norway, all of those places, like I pretty much agree with that.
Well, beyond being able to point, which I mean, it's a very smart idea to say, well, who am I to say we should have a complete revolution of a system if we can't even point to it ever working, which is like, that's generally the attitude you should have. But I mean, we asked you this, I don't remember your answer though. Like when it comes to, private ownership, were you against that?
So I'm in favor of like worker co-ops and like unions and stuff.
Sounds good. Doesn't work.
I'm still like, so how it was described to me is like, back in the day, like people would be like, oh, like the king owns everything, and that's just the way it is. And
Are you giving us the Richard Wolff feudalism answers?
Is that what that is? Yeah, that's how I was described.
No.
So it's like you can't picture anything else, right?
Oh no! Did you see Richard Wolff's debate with Destiny?
No.
Oh, because literally,
I heard it was. I like Richard Wolff though.
This was the answer.
Last time.
Yeah, this was it was bad for Richard Wolff, and this was the answer when Destiny asked him to define communism. He's like, "Well, we must go back to feudalism," and like every answer went back to feudalism. So. Well,
but it's just an example of like you can't. Yeah.
Can I ask you, what do you want? Are you like, is income inequality something that bothers you? Because a lot of times I feel like we all have the same goals. We just have different ideas about how to get there.
Well, my focus is like mostly class, I think.
Right. Too many
pretty
poor
much
people,
everything.
Too many
like
people suffering. Too many people economically depressed. Because we agree with all that stuff. Sitch and I are totally. I mean, there's a huge housing crisis. I think, that bugs the shit out of me. So.
Yeah. No, we probably agree. I'm. Like you like UBI, right? Or what was your thing? Adam?
I don't think I started digging in because I do obviously UBI. I think like I love the idea of it, but when I started doing research on it, that's actually how I came across MMT, and the MMT people have just a devastating argument against UBI. Like I think your journey and my journey are very similar in that we're looking for arguments that work, and until we find an argument that blows this other argument away, that's what we're going with for now. So I try to do that, and obviously UBI would be amazing, but the MMT people have just such a devastating argument against it. I don't think it would work. I do think, and this is when the Elon Musk and the Jeff Bezos of the world talk about endorsing UBI, there is a bit of the virtue signaling going on there where they're like, I'm not just a terrible person. I like UBI. They know it'll never happen. And in the situation where it would happen, it's pretty much inevitable. I mean, if we're in a situation where robots are doing 95% of our work,
exactly,
you're going to have UBI. Yeah. So yeah, in that sort of situation, it's just kind of a question of when we get to that situation. But I know all of the arguments that the socialists and the co-op types have for getting us to that situation are not going to get us to that situation. They're actually going to send us running in the other direction, more towards feudalism again. Like it's not a viable system. So yeah.
Well, you moved away from UBI to jobs guarantee, right?
No, I did that interview with Warren Mosler, and
now you're not. Now you don't like the jobs guarantee.
The jobs program is just completely. Well, I'm not in favor of it the way he has it structured. I mean, we do have a jobs program. It's the United States military. Like technically, that's the jobs program we've had for the last 50 years.
Sure. Yeah, I guess you can conceptualize it that way.
Well, it is that way. I mean, descriptively, it's that way. Isn't the military? And I feel horrible about this because there's a lot of people who are economically depressed that are kind of forced into going into the military, which I don't think is a good way to.
Well, is it actually? I don't even think it is, because you can flunk. Like if you can't pass the physical requirements to be in the military,
you can't get in.
You just get kicked out. Yeah, so it's not a jobs guarantee program.
Yeah, right? I guess you're right.
But
yeah.
Well, I guess just to end it, the whole co-op thing, I think the difference is I'm fine. I like the idea of co-ops. I don't think that they should be mandated by law, and I B don't think that
Mhm.
they'll be anywhere near as competitive as non-co-op companies.
They just want to know which team everybody's on.
Yes.
For sure. They don't
Right.
like it when it's like unclear.
Yeah, that's another thing that we have in common with you, Shoe, because we don't want to be on a fucking team.
Amen, brother.
We're rebels.
What are we, some kind of suicide squad?
Good night, everybody. Da, 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 da.